welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be back. I know I was here. I know I was here a week ago, but maybe 2 weeks ago, depending on when I upload this. But I'm just excited to be in front of the camera again. But today's topic is maybe not as exciting. Well, depends on how you see it, but I'm excited to do this because the first time that I really started this channel, I did mention that I want to make sure that there's transparency. I want to make sure that I'm sharing every part of my journey, the good and the bad. And I wanted to shoot this video where I talk about some of my challenges that I encountered in my career, because I don't want people to think that I'm just like really like sliding through and I'm having it all good, or at least like I had it all good. And you know, I'm appreciative of where I am right now. I'm truly grateful. And just today when I was like cleaning my home and doing all this stuff, you know, I took a second to just thank God for everything, but also acknowledging my journey and being okay with things that I went through and things that I'm still yet to go through as part of this journey that I'm in. Most of you know my journey of coming to the US, coming for college, my journey of actuarial science, how much I've been wanting this. I have a lot of videos on my channel where I talk about my scholarship to UWC and being able to attend university here. And so I wanted to share with you guys some of the, I guess, just I would call them challenges, but also learning points in my career that also helped me to be where I am now, and I think will continue to teach me lessons for where I need to be. The first thing that I really thought about today was my exam taking journey. I remember taking my first exam for actuarial science when I think I was going into my second year. First of all, the actuarial science at my previous college was still a little bit premature. Like it wasn't an established actuarial, you know, program yet, because well, like I could count the number of people that were in that class. We had one professor who at the time also asked for resources, and he recommended like a textbook because I wanted my first exam to be financial mathematics or exam FM. And you know, I didn't have any connections in terms of people that have went through this journey that I can ask more questions, in terms of just people in the industry. At the time I didn't know anything except my professor, whom by the way was very supportive and gave me the kind of resources that I needed. But anyway, so when I started studying for my first actuarial exam, he recommended to check out their website or like get a book, and I think I got a book from Amazon and I started studying there. And then I probably studied for like 3 months, but it wasn't even like serious studying. It was like, yeah, I'm studying like how I normally study for my, you know, classes. And I was like, okay, I understand this, let me move on. I understand this, let me move on. And then I think 3 days to my exam, I went on the Society of Actuaries website and I decided to take a practice exam. And when I took the practice exam, guys, I failed it, despite the fact that I felt like I understood everything. And I started panicking. I'm like, you know what? I'm writing this exam in 3 days. I paid for it. So I don't know what to do. Should I just skip it? Should I just go? And then he was like, you know what? Go. See how it is and learn from it. And then that's how I went in my exam. It was like, I'm going to see how it is without expectation of passing. So I went in the exam, and after I left, obviously I failed. And then I came back to school and I was, okay, can you help me figure out this whole thing? Should I take really exam FM or do I need to take exam P? And he said that, yeah, take exam P. We'll be doing some P content in class, so it might be useful when you are studying. I decided to take exam P my second year of college, and I didn't study. It was solely based on my knowledge from class, and I didn't know about coaching actuaries actually at the time. But I was lucky enough to go to, I think it was a conference by Nationwide in Des Moines in Iowa, And I remember asking my host parents to take me. That was very nice. My host parents took me. I think my professor told me about it, but my host parents took me. God bless, they are sweethearts. They took me. I think it's like 2 hours 30 minutes from my school, and we came back together as well. So that was really nice for them to put in that effort. And so when I went to this conference, I think it was a life changer because it was students from different schools in Iowa. It was actuaries that worked at Nationwide. So there was actually like people I can talk to. And when I was talking to people, I was talking to other second year students who have done like 2 exams, and I'm like, how are you guys doing these exams? And I don't even know where to start. I don't know the right resources to use. And they kept talking about coaching actuaries, and I wrote it down. I remember I had a journal or a notebook. I wrote it down. I wrote down coaching actuaries because I asked them, what is this thing you guys used to study? And they say coaching actuaries. But most of them are from schools that have established actuarial science programs. So like most of the content they do in class by second year, you should have specific exams passed. And so I think that was the turning point for me. I looked into coaching actuaries. At the time, obviously I'm in college, I invested my own money. I bought, I think, the Adapt. I didn't buy the learning part. I just bought the Adapt the first time around. So I bought Adapt and I practiced. I probably practiced I think I only practiced, I'm trying to think, I think I did a few quizzes and then I practiced, but I was practicing on very low end levels. I failed terribly. I remember that time. So that was the first time. The second time is now what I'm talking about, where I did Adapt. I did level 4. I think my end level was like 4.5 by the time the exam came. And I was extremely nervous because I knew that I didn't practice higher difficulty questions. So I was extremely nervous. I'm like, oh my god, I can't fail this exam again, because I failed it the first time, which I failed it terribly with a 1 because I didn't practice. I didn't learn anything because I thought that my classroom knowledge would help me. And then I went in this exam. I felt it was way better than the first time around. I definitely felt that it was way better. And I left very disappointed. Again, I failed, but this time around I failed with a 5, and to pass you need a 6. So I was almost there. I think it was one section where I got a low rating, so I was almost there and I was very devastated. I remember at the time, like, I literally cried, and I called my mentor that was assigned to me by the International Association of Black Actuaries, which, by the way, my professor also told me about, and I ended up applying for their scholarships. And because at the time when I applied for the IABA scholarship, I was merely going there for the financial aid, which I will talk about as one of my challenges as well. But then it ended up being more than that, because they connected me to a mentor. And I remember calling my mentor. I was crying and I was like, you know what? I just took an exam. I think this was our first time even talking, because it was few weeks after we got assigned. So I was crying and I told him that I am devastated. I just took my P exam, failed. I don't know what to do. It didn't feel as hard, but there were definitely some challenging questions. And he asked me, what was your end level? I was like, my end level was 4.5. I really did a lot of questions, and it's like, just keep going, and next time you're gonna get it. You now know what to expect. You know what's going to be in the exam. Keep going. And I was a little bit devastated, and to be honest, I think this was a huge point in my career, because there was a time I wanted to give up. This was the point where I was questioning if this is for me after failing this actual exam, because I was like, this is one of the first exams people take, one of the easiest, so why is it so hard? But I also understand that people fail actuarial exams all the time. So I was at that point where I wanted to give up, but also consoling myself with the fact that people fail actuarial exams all the time and they say that it's normal to fail. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to register 3 months out. So I had time to focus on my school exams and then focus on my actuarial exam during the winter break, which was Christmas, because I didn't go home normally during Christmas, so this was an opportunity for me to give my best, my absolute best, to make sure I pass my next sitting. So I decided to do that. Well, I believe this was 2019 December. 2019 December. Guys, I did questions. And when I tell you, 4 days before my exam, I reached end level 7 for exam P, and I was burnt out. I did exams, I did quizzes, I was burnt out. And I prayed to God. I prayed, you know what, God, I did my best, and if I don't pass, this is gonna be very upsetting. So this was a turning point, because obviously I went to write the exam. I was very, very, very nervous. I've never been this nervous in my life. I was very nervous. I felt like I was doing something that was going to change my life forever. And I really did want to pass this exam, because I was also looking for internships, and most internships look for at least one exam passed, actual exam passed. And I went in the exam. I passed. I was very excited. I felt like my life was like I felt that I was getting signs of me being on the right path. I prayed hard and I worked hard, and I asked God, if you want me to be in this career, please give me signs, show me. And all of a sudden things just started coming together. Like, I passed my exam, and then from there, God willingly, I haven't failed an exam. I've passed my exams on first attempt, and I'm so thankful that I went through that journey, because it taught me a lot. Having the right resources to study and being able to be adequately prepared for your exams, and not going to jinx it just because you think it's like normal classroom exams. So it was a learning point, and I'm truly grateful, despite those failures, that I went through them, because they are helping me right now to go through the rest of my exams, especially as you go further and the exams get a little bit tougher. So that's really the exam challenge. My other challenge, as I mentioned briefly earlier on, is financial. Being an international student, we come here most of the times, on paper it says we have 100% scholarships, but practically it's not always 100%. Sometimes you're obligated to pay some things that show up on your account. You get a bill and you have to pay $3,000. I got that in the end of my first year, but I was lucky enough that my parents could help me pay that. But my second year, I didn't want to go through that again. And I was lucky enough that my professor, my material science professor, actually sent me all these resources of like black actuary resources for financial aid, diversity students. And I applied for 2 of them that I'd qualified for, and I got scholarships for both of them. So I was very fortunate to have 2 external actuarial scholarships that supplemented what the school was offering me, that offloaded a lot of that financial burden of trying to pay off. Because it's already hard being an international student, being in a different country. You are by yourself, you have to take care of yourself, and for most of us also, our parents back home do not have the luxury to send us like monthly allowances or whatsoever. So most of what we depended on was on-campus employment, and obviously on-campus employment, you are being paid minimum wage, so it's enough for, like, you know, your personal needs like groceries, when you need to, like during breaks, when you're not eating in the cafeteria. It's enough for personal stuff, buying clothes, you know, things like that. But it's not enough to be paying off like school accounts, if that makes sense. So that was a huge burden. And one of my prayers to God was really for me to be able to get other scholarships to supplement that, so that I spent my on-campus employment money on other needs and other experiences. So that really helped. And then I would say the third challenge was also getting an internship. When I came into college, I knew that I wanted to be an actuary. But I also knew, I think when I came in, people started talking about, oh, it's good to get internships. So my first year, I was already looking for internships. Guys, I was so motivated. My first year, I was already looking for internships. I actually got an internship at a company a little bit, maybe 25 minutes drive away from school. So during my summer after first year, I did get an internship, and then they're very excited. When they started working on my paperwork, I was actually in Miami for my 21st birthday, and then they were reaching out. They actually called me. It's like, yeah, when we went through your paperwork, we realized that it's gonna take quite a while for us to get you the right, I guess, work authorization for you to start working next week, because they wanted me to start working the following week, for you to start working next week. So we unfortunately, we're gonna go with our first runner up, who is an American, because we don't have the time to go through this paperwork. I was very disappointed, and obviously that was already summer, so there was nothing much I could do, and I felt defeated. But then I was like, you know what, it's fine. I can still work on campus, my normal job, and still make money this summer. So I think that was my first internship that I didn't experience. And then second year, that's when I got the Davis Foundation to build schools in my home village. So I didn't look for summer internships. This was like my summer experience. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do something different beyond like getting a job, because I knew that I had junior year to search for an internship. So after my second year, I did go home during the summer to do my Davis Foundation project, and that was also very impactful, very meaningful, no regrets at all. That was very, 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 I'm glad that I did it, because it helped people, and it also just helped me a lot. It was a good learning experience, and just an opportunity to plow back to my community and give back in this way. So my junior year internship, that was now when, okay, this is my last chance. I need to get an internship to leverage my chances of getting a full-time job. And so I started interviewing. I started interviewing the moment actuarial companies actually recruit. I don't know if it's really, they recruit early, or all the companies do this, but they recruit when school starts in the fall. So this was going into my third year fall. I started applying for jobs. I got interviews. Luckily, we had like an actuarial science interview day, and these companies came. I was fortunate to interview with a few companies, and then this company, they called me for a second interview, for a home interview. We were like 3 girls. It's a women-led life insurance company, and we were three girls, and they're only choosing one person, and they happened to choose me. So I was very excited about this opportunity. I was excited to move to a different city. It was a life-defining experience. I loved it. The internship was amazing as well. Being in like a smaller company, you kind of get the flexibility to learn different areas, different corners, and just a more diverse background when it comes to actuarial science. So that was amazing, being given an opportunity to actually do an actuarial science internship. And I also remember when I was doing my actuarial science internship, I was studying for actually FM, my second exam, which I passed very well, because I felt like I had so much time now to do my exams, and it was good. It was good, and I felt like God was putting me on the right path. So that was the whole internship, and trying to get the internship, because honestly, I feel like that internship opened up a lot of doors for me, because after my third year, it was now time to apply for full-time. My company was actually not recruiting for full-time, because they're a very, very small department, actuarial department. So when they have to bring in an actuary, because apparently actuaries also require higher budget. So when they bring in an actuary, it's when somebody on the team leaves, and nobody on the team was leaving yet. So they're not recruiting for full-time. So I had to look for other full-time opportunities. So I started interviewing. With companies. What I did was I had a list of my top companies, and I prayed over it. I asked God, God, take me where you want me to be, because especially when you pass like a few exams and you have an internship, recruiters start reaching out. Oh, there's this company. So I felt like I had options, but then also it was one of those things where it's not guaranteed, right? You still have to give your best. So I made sure that I attended every career fair, every recruiting event. I made sure that I knew what's going on, the companies that recruit international students, because I also didn't want to go to a company that doesn't recruit international students. I make sure that I engage with the people, learn about the company's culture, and if it's aligned with what I want and who I want to be. So I think this was very good, and I ended up getting my first choice of the company that I wanted to be in. So I'm very grateful that, like, from failing my first few actuarial science exams and questioning if this career is for me, to everything aligning in my favor, that was it was miracles. I felt like it was miracles. But then again, you know, sometimes something, okay, I did put in some effort, but also as a believer, as a woman of faith, I would like to think that it's God's grace, because all of that is not really through my own power and strength, because things could have gone otherwise, but God is always there, and He made it possible for me to be here. And I know the journey continues, still taking exams, still early on in my career, learning a lot, and just finding more about myself and my interests as well. So I'm at a point where I'll continue to seek that guidance from God, from people around me, because I know that challenges are part of the process, that failure is also part of the process, especially in this career, being okay with getting past it and learning from it, and knowing that because you failed doesn't mean that you are a failure or that you are not meant to be where you are. I think that's what I'm learning now, and trying to mentally prepare myself for things that might come unexpectedly. And I also want to encourage anyone out there who may be in this career or any other career journey, feeling like they don't belong there, or questioning if they even need to be there because they encountered a challenge, or maybe even many challenges, just to encourage you that you will know when your heart is directing you to the right thing, and there's always a way. The right doors will open for you. You just gotta do what you have to do. If you know that this is what I need to get where I need to be, then do it, and God will do the rest. This is my advice to really anyone, and I genuinely mean this, because I've seen it play out in my life. I've seen the miracles. I've seen certain things I asked God for, and even, you know, there are certain things when I was in college and I was experiencing some challenges, I asked God for, and I thought God was directing me to something, and this thing didn't work out. And then later on, something better worked out. And then later I realized that it was a redirection. It was a detour, because God knew what He was doing. So just a piece of advice: don't give up, keep going, and believe in your journey, embrace your journey, be grateful for where you are and for where you are going to be, and just do your best. Put in the effort that you need to, put in the hard work, and give the rest to God, because He will definitely open the right doors for you at the right time. So thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate you coming to this channel and giving me the support, the love, and goodbye. I'll see you again later.